All right, so now we're supposed to evaluate things. Here it looks like we're taking a negative 3/5 to the third. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're just taking a negative 3 over 5 times a negative 3 over 5 times a negative 3 over 5. Okay, so we have a negative times a negative is positive, then a positive times a negative is negative. So we know our final answer is negative. Now we can't reduce anything, so we have to have 3 times 3 is 9. And so then 9 times 3 is 27. What about this one? 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 5 is 125. Now again, if you needed to, you could take 25 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 2 is 12. And that's where we get the 125. Okay. And so, you know, these are just the exponents. So remember PEMDAS again. It's this part here, the exponent. And it just means we're taking this to the third power. We're taking this times itself 3 times. And so that's what we've done here. And so then that would be our final answer. Now, the next one says we're supposed to find the area of the triangle pictured. All right, so we have this triangle, and now this is our height, and this is our base. And they're nice enough to say, well, area, which is what we're supposed to find, is equal to 1/2 base times height. And we're supposed to round the answer to the nearest tenth. So that means we're going to have to divide out or something like that. So let's first see what area is going to be. So area is 1/2 times the base, which is 10, times the height, which is 4. Okay. Well, I don't see why we have to round to the nearest tenth, but okay. So 1/2 times 10. Well, let's kind of think about this. We have 1/2 times 10 over 1 times 4 over 1. Well, guess what we can do? We can do some canceling here. Well, 2 will go into here once. 2 will go in here 5 times. So now we have 1 times 5 times 4, which is 20, all over 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. So that's just equal to 20. And that's why I'm surprised they have us round to the nearest tenth. And if they want us to do that, the tenth would be here. And so they actually want us to put 20.0, which doesn't make sense because we don't put any point zeros here. And that means there's one more place of accuracy. So if I were actually doing this, I would get rid of that tenth and I would say, just give me the value here, which is going to be 20. Now, it doesn't give us any units, so we don't have to worry about units. But if we were doing units, remember it's going to be square. So it's going to be square units because you're going to take a 1 unit times another unit, and so it's going to be square units. So if this had been centimeters and that was centimeters, this would be centimeters squared. Okay, so I think looking at this again was just copied off out of the homework section. And so when you're doing these, they might want you actually to put 20.0, but really the correct answer would be 20 because they don't have the point 0. So scientifically, you wouldn't add the point 0 on this case. All right, so here it says it's estimated that each guest at a party will eat 5/6 of a pound of chocolate. How many guests can be served with 15 pounds of chocolate? All right, well, we know we have a total of 15 pounds, and we need to divide that, or wait, yeah, and each guest is going to eat that much, and so we need to divide it by how much each guest is going to eat, and then that should tell us the number of guests. Okay, well, if we do this, that's going to have to keep that there, change it to multiply, and flip. So 6 over 5. Now, if we need to, we can put that over 1. That's not a problem. Now, can we reduce? Oh, yeah. 5 will go in here once. 5 will go in here 3 times. Now, what do we have? Well, 3 times 6 is 18. And so there's going to be 18 guests. Okay. Now, if you take 18 times 5/6, we would see that that's going to give us 15 pounds of chocolate that they're going to need to eat. Now, what about the next one? If an elephant grass grows 2 3/5 inches in a day, well, guess what? We're going to have to convert that to improper fraction. So let's do that now. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3, that's 13/5 inches. So we've got that. How many inches will it grow in 5 days? Well, so what we're going to do is we have to take 13/5 times 5 days. Well, and again, we can put that over 1 if we want. And what's that going to equal? Well, 5 goes in here once, 5 goes in here once, and we get a simple 13, and don't forget your units, inches. Okay, so that's how much it's going to grow in those 5 days. Now, they could give you any kind of fraction here in any number of days, and you just have to convert it to that improper fraction and then multiply by the number of days. Sometimes you might be lucky and it'll actually give you things that reduce so you get a whole number. Other times you might have to go back and divide it out and get your mixed number at the end, because this was the value you started with. So it might actually grow, 29 thirds of an inch or something at the end. So you have to divide that out and get your final value in a mixed number. So be careful of that depending on what your answers are. All right, let's pause there and we'll come back for more.